So this was Sunday, the day before my husband went fishing on Saturday and caught a bunch of fish. And usually on Sundays we gather with family and we eat a big meal after church. And this is by no means the healthiest lunch at all, but I was craving some dinner rolls, and then we were going to fry up the fish that my husband caught. And we ended up making some homemade fries, homemade cheesy fries with some bacon bits. And honestly, this was a really good lunch. Not the healthiest, but oh man, we always look forward to every time my husband goes fishing. And then I made some honey butter for our rolls. So definitely lots of carbs, not healthy, but it's a special treat to have on a Sunday. This is probably my most favorite time of year. It's watching the kids go absolutely crazy over picking strawberries. Strawberry season has officially began, and we have been picking small bowls every single day. You can see here how many strawberries are forming. They haven't turned red yet. This bed is going to be loaded with strawberries eventually. But we just been coming out here every day and getting a small bowl. And we're lucky enough if we make it into the house with a small bowl, because the kids just absolutely love eating all the strawberries. But I have been starting to freeze some, so I'll just take them inside, wash them, cut the tops off, and then cut them in half, and then I'll flash freeze them. And then I will shrink wrap them into freezer bags, and then we'll have them for wintertime to eat. These are absolutely just gorgeous strawberries. You can see here just how many we really get every single day. So we have been getting a lot of rain the past couple weeks, which is really great for the fields that we have for the cows. They've been growing really well. And actually it's been really good on the garden. I haven't really noticed too much water in the garden. It's really nice because I haven't had to turn on the drip lines very much and run them. So the cabbage is looking really good. I noticed yesterday over here, I kind of wanted to come out here and film. We got some cauliflower heads forming. So exciting about that. Let's see if I can, here's one right here. I might have to come in and close these leaves so they don't get, they don't start turning yellow from the sun. I have that problem sometimes if I don't go in and just close these little leaves around the cauliflower. It has been getting somewhat hot on most days. And we're gonna get another storm here in a couple hours. So I don't see too much, just this one right here, this cauliflower is turning a little yellow on the bottom leaf. And there might be one over here too next to it. But I'm not showing signs of overly watered, which is really good. Over here though is, I'm just noticing maybe these two right here showing a little sign of too much water. That's okay. Most of them are pretty green still. And these Brussels sprouts have blown up. They are getting huge. So that is exciting. Hopefully we get some Brussels sprouts this year. And then I wanted to come in here. I am going to have to do something about this net. But we got broccoli forming. Look at that. There is broccoli heads just trying so hard to push up through this net. This one right here is really having a hard time pushing up through the net. So that's exciting. I always don't have a very good harvest on broccoli, I've been trying to see different varieties, what works for me. And actually this one, I mean, they don't look like very big heads or anything yet, but I tell you what, this variety right here is a lot bigger than what I usually grow. So I'm actually really excited to get a broccoli harvest off of this. And they're not, I mean, they're showing a little bit of signs of stress just because they're pushing up through this net, and they might be getting too much water on this row because it kind of floods in this walking path right here. You can see right in this middle section we are holding some water from all the rain that we've been getting. But this row is actually mounded up. I don't know if you guys remember in some of my last videos, I mounded this dirt up from our old strawberry row. We took the dirt over here and mounded it up, so we shouldn't have too much flooding on that row. Now look at these potatoes. They have grown like crazy. In just a week, they have blown up. All this rain has been amazing. And then these carrots are actually getting really big too. So my carrot video, I put these little stakes down there's 3 different varieties. So there's a variety here, there's a variety here, and then there's a variety right there. You can tell this variety has really germinated really good. And then this one hasn't germinated that great. And then this one, same thing, not as great. But I know once the carrots grow taller and taller and taller, it'll look like there's a lot of carrots in here. But I wonder if I should just reseed both of these if I still have the variety. I don't think it's too late to go ahead and try to seed that. Since we're getting so much rain, it'll be easy for them to germinate. And then turning through here, I've been harvesting some radishes. Let's see if we can get down and find one here. And then I got some beets growing down in here too. So you can see there's some radishes that we've been snacking on in the garden. The boys, my younger boys, like to come out here and pick them and snack on them. And we had some in our salad last night. This salad is really big. I'm gonna have to harvest all of this and wash it and put it into our refrigerator because it's almost, some of these right here, you can kind of see the center is starting to bolt a little bit because we have been getting really hot whenever it's not raining. But these are definitely mature. I need to go ahead and harvest them before they start getting bitter. But we've been eating on that all week. You can see where we've been cutting the lettuce heads. And then this bunching onions really need to be ate too. And over here, a couple days ago, we seeded our green beans in this bed. So here in a couple days, we will start seeing green beans starting to sprout. This whole entire bed is full of bean seeds. And these bean seeds, we saved them last year from our plants. So that's exciting. A couple videos back, we show in one of those videos that we harvested our own bean seeds. So we don't have to rely on buying any this year or next year because I have that many. I'm going to try to start saving my own seed just because it is expensive to order seeds now. This green onion really needs to be cut up. It's laid over from all the storms. The onions are looking really good. I haven't been able to fertilize in 2 weeks, but the rain hoping the nitrogen from the rain and stuff will carry these through, which they're looking really green and good. And then the herb bed has really blown up. So we got cilantro, parsley, rosemary. I put rosemary in. It's doing really good. Oregano is about time to start harvesting. And then my thyme, I'm surprised my thyme didn't come back really well this year, but I planted a little tiny little plant right there. So hopefully it'll grow up this year and get big and bushy. So I do need to talk about these tomato buckets. I never filmed this part, but we actually put a cover crop in here probably about 6 weeks ago, and we put in hairy vetch. And I think on some of my last videos it shows really green and bushy. Well, about a week and a half ago, I took a shovel, which actually I rip it down with my hands, put it in a wheelbarrow, all the tops of the green, and then I took a shovel and just kind of rotated the dirt and kind of mixed it in like you would tilling with a shovel. Tried to kill it out, and then I put the leftover tops from the wheelbarrow and laid it on top here. And it's kind of broken down quite a bit. So this coming Saturday will be 2 weeks that I have terminated this cover crop. I wanted to give it enough time to terminate and get back into the soil, because I don't want to put a tomato in here when it's fresh whenever I turned it over. So I guess hairy vetch is supposed to put nitrogen back into your soil. That's why I wanted to do an experiment this year and try the hairy vetch. You get 6 weeks before your planting time. Go ahead and seed it, let it grow, and then you cut it down, mix it in, and then let it sit for 2 weeks. And hopefully our tomatoes will do amazing this year, because tomatoes are very heavy feeders and they need that nitrogen. So I'm hoping we will have a good tomato harvest this year, which our tomatoes are struggling this year when I seeded them, but they're actually looking a lot better. I'll take you guys over there here in a little while into the greenhouse and show you what the tomato plants look like. I was kind of worried about them for 3 weeks now. I've been stressing about what they look like because they were floppy, just looked absolutely terrible, which I just know it's the seeds that the company that I bought from. So I'm hoping once we get them in the buckets, and I've been harding them off in the sun these past 2 weeks, and they have turned around from getting the warmth of the sun. So look at these celery. They have darkened up the leaves. I picked on my last video, I shared that I messed up on my celery. I took care of the celery for 2 months in their cell blocks, because celery has to be planted super early like your onions. So I took care of them for 2 months in my house. And for some reason, I put them in front of my garage one day. I usually put them in the greenhouse, so I know where everything's at, and that needs to be watered. But for some reason this day, I put them out in the sun in front of my garage and totally forgot about them for 2 days. And that heat of the sun dried up my celery blocks, and they didn't get water for like 2 days. And they were completely looking dead. And it was devastating. I was so stressed for a couple days just because I did that. Because I rely on celery. I like to freeze all of our celery and put it in our freezer so I can go in and grab whatever I need when I'm cooking throughout the winter time. So I was very upset for a couple days. But I ended up watering them, fertilizing them, putting them back into the greenhouse. And some of them sprung back. I planted 2 trays of celery this year, and I'm glad I did because I needed all of these to come back. And they actually have turned around. I know on camera right here my lighting is a little light, but they are very dark green now. So I think they turned around. I think the rainwater and just giving them time to adjust to this soil when I planted them, they have really turned around. So they, after, you know, almost killing them for 2 days with no water in their cell blocks, they are a really strong plant and they can survive. So I'm hoping that we get a good harvest out of that this year. And my asparagus, I ended up stringing up my asparagus, which I ran out of string. I need to go buy some more, and it's easier for me to harvest my celery later on because these are starting to flop over a little bit. And then I have some sweet peas here, and they're getting a little bigger. See down here, they're starting to climb up on this panel finally, so that's exciting. Some of them didn't germinate very well right down here. Of course, that's okay. So on the other side here, I planted cowpeas. I just covered planting all of this in cowpeas, so later on they will trellis up this trellis. We'll be able to harvest all those cowpeas eventually. And then this row I planted my okra. Planted those a couple days ago. I don't see anything sprouting up just yet. And then this row will be my pepper row. I haven't planted my peppers yet. I'm going to give it till next week because we're going to have 2 nights that are going to be 48 degrees. Just need to get through those 2 nights, and then I think we're good to plant next week. I still haven't took up all of this plastic and put my calcium down yet. That's the last thing I need to do, is take up this last section and put my calcium down in my soil. And then this row is completely finished, ready to be planted. I was gonna do flowers, which I still am trying to decide what I really want to plant here. These are my cucumbers. They're planted. Just ready for them to start sprouting up. And then over here, these are planted in cucumbers. And then I have my plant starts planted. You can see here they're starting to form their 3rd leaf. So we got our canning down here, our canning ones for pickles, which you can can these ones down here too. These ones are fresh eating, but you can actually can this variety too. But if all goes well, I don't see a slug problem yet this year. We had a horrible slug problem last year. Nothing's touched these just yet, so that's a good sign. Hopefully they'll get more mature and we'll get an early harvest of cucumbers this year. I've never done that before, is starting my own seed indoors and then transplanting them out here to get an earlier harvest. So excited that we might get a early harvest of cucumbers if the slugs will stay away. All right, then look over here is my flower row. Some of my cool flowers and then some of my summer flowers. So I planted a bunch of flowers, got them out of the greenhouse finally, so I don't have to take care of any of that anymore. You can see all this rain has been amazing, and we got some flowers already blooming right down here. You can see all these buds getting ready to bloom right there. And down here too, we got some buds on the yarrow. And then down here, I finished planting this bed. I got some comfrey, 2 plants of comfrey, and then these are all flowers down here, and then some dahlias down here. The dahlias might be getting too much water from all the rain, so hopefully they will snap out of it. And then we got some onions, Egyptian walking onions, on the outside of the garden that seeded when they fell over whenever we first put this garden in. I just let it grow here. It's not hurting anything. So yeah, that's the update on the garden so far. I think it was like this past 2 weeks that I worked on all 4 of these rows that I worked on, and put my calcium down, weeded out all the cover crop, and everything's good to go other than this section right here, the pumpkin and watermelon patch. And I think I'm gonna put my squash down here at the end, my zucchini and yellow squash. So I'm just waiting on to do this section next week, and then I need to burn all the holes, and then I can hopefully start planting. So all my brassicas should be forming up, which I don't see. The cabbage hasn't really formed their heads just yet, but looks like the cauliflower and broccoli is going to be one of the first things that I'm going to be harvesting over here. I'll probably blanch them like I did last year and put them into freezer bags where you suck all the air out of it with a machine. The garlic is actually looking really good. We might be getting too much water. They're a little bit lime green on the bottom. Hopefully it'll start drying up through these rains so we don't get soggy garlic. But yeah, that's a little update on the garden. Oh, right here in the end of the potato bed, I planted a ton of lettuce. So we'll have a good little patch of lettuce growing right here to eat. So yeah, that is the update on how everything is growing because of all this rain. Yesterday I just noticed my cauliflower and a lot more broccoli, so won't be long. I'll be harvesting from the garden soon. All right, we are over in the berry patch right now. Just when I walk into the greenhouse. I actually been setting all of this out in the sun every day, which I think they're fully ready to be out in the sun and transplanted into the garden. So this is early morning right now. All this stuff I've been putting in here because it's been storming every day and the high winds would just wipe all this out. So I put it in here at night to keep them safe. But we're actually going to get a storm here in a couple hours. So I'm going to have to probably keep them in here until that storm passes through. But so here's some basil that I have. It really needs to be transplanted. And a pepper. But my tomatoes are actually turning around. They're getting tall. So I think there might be some hope that they'll turn around once I get them into the ground. And then these peppers are getting really tall, really green, looking really good. And then these peppers are kind of lime greenish. I think they're getting too much water, but they do need to be transplanted. They're in a smaller cup. And then here's some more of the tomatoes. They're looking a little better. On camera they kind of look a little, this lighting is really light. And then some more peppers and tomatoes back here. And then Some of these are my squash plants and cucumbers. So those really need to get in the ground before they get any bigger. But yes, I think we're gonna turn around on these tomato plants. I was so stressed for a couple weeks because they looked terrible. You can see right here, look at that on the tip of that tomato plant. Some of them are just, well, actually every one of them besides two were super droopy and looked really bad. But they're looking a lot greener because they've been out in the sun. The sun has been amazing on them. They have turned around and look way healthier than they have been. So that's a little update. This is the only thing left that I have growing is here in the greenhouse is the peppers and tomato plants and basil and some squash. So can't wait to get these out next week into the garden so I can shut down the greenhouse because it'll be starting to get too hot in the greenhouse to grow anything. So just gotta wait for that storm to pass today so I can get these back out into the sun. And here is the berry patch. Raspberries have blown up from the rain. They have filled up this entire bed. And then our blackberries, we'll be able to get some blackberries this year. We actually, I think, starting to see some flower buds on some of these. Yep, right there. Got some flower buds forming, so that'll be a good sign that we get berries this year. And then our ever-bearing blackberries have a ton of flowers on them. Some of them are getting ready to bloom. You can see right there. So that's exciting. I'll have to trellis up that branch back over. And then we got some over here. Lots of leaves, lots of flowers forming on all of this. And then the new berry roots are doing really good. They're growing really good too. So next year these will be really tall. Strawberry season, so we've been picking them every day and getting a bowl full of strawberries every day. And I've been trying to freeze them. I'll flash freeze them and then vacuum seal them into the freezer. I want to have at least maybe a couple gallon of strawberries to preserve for the freezer. But yeah, that's a little update of the gardens and the berry patch. So everything's doing amazing. Getting lots of rain. Rain has been a good thing this year. We have been blessed to get so much rain this spring.